You want to
adding it
under new business or?
Yeah, we can put it under new business
Okay.
on the agenda.
Is that an I or a Y?
So with that,
Cindy, is that with a Y or an I?
Why?
This is the
Thank you.
Y.
Damn it, I got it in my phone wrong.
well, no wonder you can't call it. So I will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda with the addition.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made, everybody in favor? Motion made by Gary.
Yeah, I have discussion if I can.
Okay.
So just like all the other minutes, there's no public comments in here. I mean, I know that usually we don't have a lot of attendance, but isn't there a place we could put public comments in this thing?
It is, but it is
It
new.
could
I don't-
easily fell under that if we had it on the agenda.
And I'll be at all of them now,
So,
That's fine.
They will be right.
We can, I mean, yes, we can make the agendas from this point on to include comment from the public as probably what, fourth, under the improvement of the minutes, or does it need to be under the approval
I
of
would
the
suggest
agenda?
at the end of the
At the-
meeting,
at the-
Yeah.
because that
Before
could be
the
something come
adjournment.
up, somebody's got a question.
Yeah, I think before we adjourn,
Yeah,
you have
that just makes
that.
more sense.
That's the way I usually do.
Because they may have questions on things we discussed.
I prefer at the beginning, but if the group wants to go there, I'm just happy to have it on the list at this
Right.
point, okay?
You prefer at the beginning?
I always have preferred, all the boards that I've ever been on put it at the beginning, but it's okay if you want to put it at the end. I just want it on there. That's my thing.
Okay, so back to the approval of tonight's agenda.
Yep.
Gary made the motion, and do I have a second?
I'll second it.
As the agenda as modified.
As read.
Okay, and Gary made the motion, Ralph, Terry made the second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Motion made, carried unanimously. Okay, now, I think that we actually need, and we can put that under, Greg, not to say, I'm just wanting in the proper place to add for the,
I'm glad it's there.
I know,
I'll
but
live with that.
we need, we can do that under old business, or we can do that now.
If you're gonna do it at the end, do it after new business, that way they hear everything that's gonna happen and then they
Exactly.
can comment.
That's what I
Okay.
feel.
But I mean, the motion to add
The bad thing
public
about,
comments,
the bad thing about putting it at the end is usually all the votes are done before you get to hear what people have to say. That's the reason why having it at the end is pretty awkward.
But then I say there may be something come up in our meeting. If we do at the beginning, they may have a question they have to wait till the next meeting to ask because we don't have anything at the end.
But we've always allowed them to ask questions midstream too.
Well,
That
and
takes care of that as well, right?
Well, yeah, we're walking on new territory because normally it's just us.
Right.
So.
But I mean, then more
we're glad to
than
have
that.
people.
Could we add maybe comments of citizens at the top part, but at the bottom between 8 and 9, but, you know, any further discussion or anything for the good of the order? Then that would allow.
That's fine with me, Chris.
Just, I mean, I hate to add two things, but then it,
But again,
whatever you guys want.
we're all covered. Well, I mean, somebody make a motion, and
It don't matter.
we'll call for the motion.
I'll make a motion to put it after number 3 on the items, which is after approval of minutes.
I'll second.
Okay? Motion made and second. Everybody in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed, same sign? Okay, there will be a public comment section added to the agenda after the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Okay? And, you know, we can make it formal to, Chris, do you want to add to the end?
We don't
What's your-
We don't have to. I mean, it's nothing, it's, I was just trying to come up with a solution that worked for both of us, or everyone, but I'm fine,
Okay.
unless the board thinks we need to.
All right, well, so the next thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Does everybody have a chance to review them?
I had one addition, and I don't remember at what point it was stated where we discussed having our meetings minutes posted on the website, and as well as having our meetings streamed, and then moving the location to here. It's not mentioned in here at the top, at least. And if we're gonna have maybe we should add that paragraph, somewhere in there. I've slept since then. Somebody could go back and rewatch it maybe and interject that where it needs to go. But we talked about, like I said, live streaming them minutes on our website and moving the location to here. And I think that it might be appropriate to add to the minutes. I don't know if
Are you asking to
You do,
amend
Teresa?
the old minutes?
Are you asking for another section of minutes to be added to the
No, just
website?
No, to the minutes,
in a,
because it was
The
what
minutes are
happened.
not currently posted online.
right, we talked about that in the meeting, to put them on our,
I know the YouTube, the live streaming is.
uh-huh. Are the county minutes posted on?
No,
Oh, they're not? Oh.
Well, yeah, the county commissioners and the council, I
Oh,
take
okay.
care of that.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know, I
But
thought I suggested these
that's
as
a
we put on.
commissioner decision whether they want their administrator to do solid waste minutes. So-
Oh, I understand.
If they want it, that's up to them.
But we have office people out.
I don't keep any other minutes online right now, other
Right,
than
but-
commissioner and council.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how that worked, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's fine,
Do
I
you
don't
actually
now,
type
now
up the-
recycling management has a website separate than the county, so.
Who manages that site?
Me.
You do? Can you put the minutes on there, Ken? Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's where I was going, 'cause who actually types these minutes? It's not you either, right, Teresa? You don't type them,
No,
do
she
you?
doesn't.
So,
I know we talked about it, so do we need this as a motion or just,
Yeah.
okay, you wanna make that motion?
Well, it's for the minutes purpose. We can wait till,
Okay,
do that later, I guess. I don't know where we need to do it. I don't want to get you out of.
we can do it in our new business.
Okay. I didn't know when I brought it up in the minutes, that maybe that should be added, that was brought up, the location of the meeting and.
Right, so that, is item 3, the approval of the minutes needs, you want to amend it
About our
to
meetings.
reflect that the meetings will be held here again, because they used to.
we'll pull it off the tape.
Okay.
Okay. Because they used to be here.
Yeah, that they're here, that it's, we're gonna live stream it, and that posting minutes on the website.
Okay.
But suggested, or discussed, and then we can vote on it later or something.
Okay, that sounds like fair enough.
We'll change the minutes.
Thank you. Sorry to get you off on that. Is this one thing I noticed that we,
So the motion that you put, that we approve the minutes with the correction that we discussed, putting it on.
I'll do that, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I got it.
Oh,
The
great.
ARP, it says in my comments, which mine's the only one that has additional comments, it's so kind of weird. But, Greg Jarbo, ARP is a big chunk to keep the county whole. I think we probably need to look at what I actually said, because in there I also mentioned about if we could use ARP money, that it would save us quite a bit of interest, because right now, if we did it the old way where it was the loan, we were gonna pay quite a bit of interest, whereas if we were able to use ARP and maybe make the project a little smaller, then we would actually save a lot of interest money there. So I'll find that and give that to whoever does the minutes, so, because it's online, so I'll just listen to it
Yeah.
and redo it and send it to them.
And my
Is that okay?
apologies.
Is that okay, Debbie? Because I think you're the one that do the minutes? Okay.
And Debbie, my apologies for not reaching out to you sooner to add that to it. I've been out and it's hard to read that on your phone. My apologies.
So,
I'll make amend to do what Greg says.
okay.
How's that sound?
Okay. And it was seconded by Greg,
Yes.
and we'll vote then. Everybody in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Same sign.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we clear on what we're doing, Ken?
I'll get it off the tape.
Gotcha. All right. Next thing on the agenda is the approval of the financial statement. And everybody's been given that by Wes. Wes, do you have anything to?
No, the only major variance is on the insurance, and that's the timing. We went ahead and paid it for the entirety of the rest of the year.
Give everybody a chance to review and any comments or discussion?
Thank you, Jock, for doing a good job on this and getting this together too. We appreciate it.
And thank you for helping me and Charlie too with it because of the budget too, so. We'll try to get you something soon or later here soon.
Really, we'll talk about that when we get to the advisory.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, excuse me, the minutes.
You did
The
that.
financials, yeah, as presented. I'm sorry.
You got jet lag?
Something like that.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made and second to approve the financial statement. Everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion made, second, carried unanimously. All right. Advisory board report.
Okay, the
Yeah.
advisory board met on July the 13th. After a short meeting, the board resigned. So we no longer have an advisory board.
Tom, would it be appropriate to solicit, and I don't know how this works for this type of board.
Joint board needs to solicit people to be on the advisory board.
Okay, there you go.
What is it?
Have the joint board, this board start soliciting names to serve on the advisory board, and maybe advertise it on our Facebook page of the counties if they want, or I'll share it on the city's page even, be more than happy to. You want to have them for our next meeting? Submit it and select them?
We can do whatever you want to make the motion. In the county, we usually give 6 weeks to allow, but we can do whatever.
I think a month could get it for this, and I mean, I don't know what everybody else.
If you want that in the motion, I'm just saying that's what they've done other ways, and I personally, I'm fine with it myself, but if you want to make that motion, or if somebody else wants to.
Well, I'd like to see
Can I ask-
discussion.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No,
You-
go
you-
on, 'cause
are you
I
sure?
was hoping for you.
Okay.
They were going on.
Teresa, I know that Pam's not here. Can I ask you a budget question? The
Sure.
budget, I know that we have to have our budget done by a certain time frame. Does that matter to?
No, because we don't
No, the advisory
we don't.
It doesn't overlap, right? There's no
No.
connection? Okay.
No. There's
So
no
what about
problem.
us, Kim, when it comes to our budget?
Our budget, we have to submit our budget when the county, when they submit all the budgets. I talked to DLGF, we can get by with this week, I'm supposed to meet next week with them. We don't, our budget, technically our budget is only approved by the county. It's approved by you guys, and the county has formal approval. So it has to be ready by the time the county approves the budgets.
Okay.
What it amounts to, so,
So we got some time.
yeah.
That's
The
September,
and the
right?
advisory board will not be doing advice for the budget this year, because that's coming up in the, later on, so.
Yep.
And another thing, as far as the law states, this board approves the advisory board. So, you guys
Pick and choose. who-
do what you want.
And it's 4 positions, right?
It's as many as, we can have up to 8.
Oh.
Ken, what about the pre-budget meeting?
Do what?
What about a pre-budget meeting then by this board?
Well, this board's gonna do, I'll take care of that in a little bit.
Okay.
This board can only meet on,
I'll take care of that in a
4
little
or
bit.
more can only meet at our monthly meeting.
Okay.
So, back to the advisory board. Chris, you, what's your thought? Anybody, well, first of all, I mean, you was ready to make a motion. Any other
Well, I was just calling for
comments?
discussion. I think 30 days would be nice, to go ahead and get it going again and start, I'll say training them, but showing them what's going on. And I think we've got.
Until a new board is formed, this board actually assumes the responsibility of the advisory board.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I would try to do 30 days just to get it going.
Yeah, because if you go to the next meeting, you're 60 days out then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm all right with that, and letters of interest basically sent to Debbie or Ken, either one. I don't know who
So
to
you
send it to.
making the motion, or?
I'm making the motion, 30 days, letter of interest sent to whichever one's appropriate. I won't decide their office.
Right, so how many on the?
Oh, the number?
I think this, I mean, we can go up to 8, so if we have 8 people apply, maybe put 8 on it.
We'll see how many
Okay.
letters of
Let's
interest.
see how many letters you
Yeah, we
get.
get 2.
It's in the bylaws 4 to 8, so we
Yeah.
don't have to decide that now. It's just
Right.
what it is.
How did we advertise that?
Perry County
Yeah.
News, social
Put
media.
people online?
On the web, can we put it on our website, the county website also, Teresa?
Yeah.
Or the solid waste website.
So, both.
But I,
We could do a link or something.
I can-
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure the
Prefer
city.
that it, minimum,
Have a
the
page for
solid waste,
recycling management.
the solid waste website, the minimum, and it's okay to give it, to apply through the other websites, but.
And then obviously, if anybody emails us a letter of interest, we're gonna
pass it on
Send it to
to-
the appropriate person too.
Sorry.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded to allow for applications for the advisory board to be voted on at our next monthly meeting. Everybody in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Same sign. Motion carried unanimously. All right. Director's report. Next on the agenda.
Very slight month, everything's moving kind of calm at the sites. We did end up with a large water leak at Branchville. It's since been repaired, so it'll be a big expense for water, but, commodities, if you look at the commodity report, cardboard and office paper went up again this month. Newspaper stayed the same. And that's all I got.
Okay. Old business budget?
Okay, old business, like I said before, without the advisory board, I'm still gonna need a couple of members of the, 2 or 3 members of the joint board to help me with the budget. Like we discussed earlier, we can have a maximum of 3 members of the joint board, otherwise we've got a quorum and we don't wanna end up with a board meeting.
Right now, Charlie and Greg were already had volunteered to be on the budget committee.
Yes, and we plan on doing it, the 2 of us, so we need 1 more member.
Okay.
If you want to put one more member on there, I mean.
Well, it doesn't matter if
We and Charlie are okay doing it, but if there's a more board member that wants to, they're welcome.
You might want to get
You
involved.
guys.
We'll look for volunteers.
And I don't have a problem with him, but.
Anyone else on the board interested in helping Charlie and Greg on the budget? Or are we all good with just them two?
Come on forward.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay, a motion for that?
I'm happy.
No, I just need volunteers.
Okay, Ralph is the additional.
Ralph volunteered.
Yeah, Ralph volunteered. Okay.
If you 3 will meet with me tonight after the meeting, we'll decide when we can meet.
Yes, sir.
If there's time.
Oh, yeah, there's gonna be time.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda, new business. I think we'll start with Cindy. Are you ready? Sorry for the confusion about Jeff not being here. I know you had questions.
Yeah, and at least they'll be public now, and he will surely be here if we request it next time, correct?
He will be here if he's requested to be here.
Well, he was requested to be here tonight.
According to me, he wasn't, that's okay.
Okay.
No.
You don't do that.
I got the email to show.
We'll fix it next week. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a known thing that was going to be talked about, so it's kind of, I'll tell you, I'm a little upset that he's not here. Because, I mean, if we know that we're going to talk about a piece of language, I really want the lawyer to be here, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to say that publicly.
I have 2 things. The one I sent was about the fee, obviously, and I know some are aware now, everybody should be after my email, that these fees were only allowed to be raised once every 5 years at 10% max.
That state statute? you're
Yes.
talking about?
That was from the get-go. That's been from day one that this took effect, back in the 90s. So I've tried to get information to find out what fees, where they started, how much, and how many years in between those. I haven't been able to get that information yet. And are we above that 10% already? Because if you raise that, like you were going 3 years this time, and like I said, I'm assuming nobody was aware of that. To me, it's inexcusable, and that's why the lawyer need to be here, because he was number 1. That should have been Ken's number 2, and then the board should have known that. So I know there's some that have just started on the board, but anyway, that was my first thing that I think the public needs to know that. And then I don't know, I'm not going to be accusatory, but there was a lot said at that last meeting, what was trying to be pushed through. My one question, I'm hoping somebody right now will answer it. Are there any bonds owed by the waste district? None? But there would have been.
Yes.
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 Which goes to my second point. Senate Bill 306 states, 2016, that they're no longer needed. You do not no longer have to be a part of a solid waste district. We do not have to have that here. I'm under the impression that most people, and I'm with you, Chris, on the recycling. We need the recycling. I think a lot of people that use that will use it. But as the solid waste, I don't get the solid waste part. Because Tell City sends theirs somewhere. Most of the people in the county sends theirs or has to pay for somebody to pick it up, which doesn't go through the solid waste. But the tonnage, which blew my mind, and I'm going to shake, but that's me. The tonnage that goes through as solid waste that's disposed of, 2,602.31 tons. Recycling is 1,160.17 tons. That's a heck of a difference. So we're doing solid waste out there. We're not doing the part that the state even wanted from the beginning, was the recycling. I heard last meeting that if it's contaminated, it gets thrown out. When the original people, and I have their names here, I know, I think Mayor Bill Goffman was on. Donnie Aitchen, I know, was one of them. But anyway, when they sent in that original plan, is that still in effect? That would have been a thing for the lawyer. I don't know, because the original plan was for St. Croix. I have not been able to see or find anywhere where this ended up in Counton, and as a smaller place, because they were talking big dreams out at St. Croix. I can find that online. Through Gateway. I can find that, but I can't find what is your plan today. What are you going by today? That's a question I have. I'm not for getting rid of the recycling. I use it. I think most of Perry County does. We need that. But it's not efficient. And there's got to be a way to figure out. I know you set up a committee or a commission, right? Was there a commission set up? That was discussed.
Right, we said it, but we haven't had a meeting.
Okay, but
On to look at the rate schedule, is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about, well, yeah, it would go with the rate schedule,
Right.
but the viability of it. Because that's another thing in the House Bill 1325, which is what was the initial thing, and there's supposed to be a task force studying the viability of this. How often, this does not say, but obviously it wasn't working. I think still 70 some counties are still in it, and I'm not for getting rid of it. But the initial plan that these men set forth, and one woman, was that it was going to bring jobs to a group of people that needed work, and the only thing people had to do they didn't even have to separate everything. It had to be a wet or a dry. And the wet was described in their original plan as plant-based, basically. Your carrot tops, that kind of stuff, was in one container. In the other container was your dry products. That went to the solid waste, or the recycling, and then they were to separate that. That's what these people were hired to do, was to separate this. So we've come down now, 30 years down the road, we're taking plastic bags away from people. The older people will not read that, number one. Plastic bags is in the original plan for them to put. These older people cannot carry a tote from their home or garage to that curb. They can carry a little plastic bag to put in that tote. So to me, that makes sense. But that's the two things I have other questions. It's not moot. That's what the lawyer told me. It's not moot because I don't want to say that this was that anybody was trying to pull one over on our eyes. Because had that went through last week, if the people hadn't have showed up and expressed their opinion, that would have went through. I have no doubt that most of you was going to vote for that. If it had, and this $500 bill, or $500,000 building and the other stuff, we're going to be talking upwards to $1 million on a bond. Should we get rid of the district, guess who pays for that? Just like the hospital and everything else. We would be responsible. And that, if you got the email from Jeff, that last email he sent, or the email he sent, which I did not get in with the thread, I don't know why, but he's talked about the other cost. That was the other cost that you guys here could charge. So you would have had that $60 fee that we would have been paying already. Then you could have put another fee out here for the building, or the new, whatever was taking place, the new building, parking lot, whatever. So, and I will, one more thing state, if you go and read, I could tell you what all this is. It's not upon me, it's upon the board. You can go in there and read. Some gentleman here at the last meeting said, why can't we get a guy or someone that has a dozer or whatever to come in or grade that, just grade that parking lot. And I think, Randy, you was one that said because of liability, and Jeff agreed. In the initial bill, it states very clearly that you can accept any kind of help, whether it's private or public, monetary, anything. You can accept that. So that right there takes the liability off of the waste district. And it also, when they do the cleanup in the river sweep, that they're not accountable for that if someone, something happens there. So that's the same to me. But that's all I'm going to say tonight. I'll save the rest for when Jeff's here.
Can I ask a question? Are you saying that you feel like the recycling is important, but the disposal of the waste is not?
No, I'm saying that it's got to be viable for the county. And raising it $60 per person household, I don't agree with these motels. That I don't know where that comes from. I could find nothing in any of it that stated that you could do that. I don't know where that comes from. But it's wrong unless every business in town pays it. I don't understand why every business in town, they have break rooms, they have, people there all day. Why aren't they paying it? That takes the burden more off of us, the people.
And I agree with you, and that's why I think that's why I initiated to have this look at the rate structure. And I don't know if anybody here disagrees, but I don't.
Nope.
And just, I don't know, you talked about the public, it would have passed, if it wasn't for the people that came here.
Right.
Although the comments of people that came here were very important. I received a lot more comments before the meeting.
Email or whatever?
Email, phone calls, stopped on the street.
Good.
I mean, so there was a lot of input.
Okay.
And I mean, you can ask Ken, I wasn't sold on it at the beginning, but to do anything in public, I think one of the first steps is to have a public meeting, to have people, and it serves its purpose. So, and I guess my final thing for you, I know you're passionate and you're about this, so I hope you consider putting your application or name in for the advisory board.
I have to learn more about it. That's why I'm not you're right. I'm not being accusatory here. What I have stated tonight is facts. It's out there for anybody to see.
Right.
I expect any board we have for anything that should be their first thing, is find out what is their job and what are they doing. What are they? You can come in and 7-0, 7-0, 3-0, all you want, but you need to know, because I guarantee if you put out, I'd like to see this on as a vote. on midterm, I don't know how that happens, but get the people's opinion that way. Everybody that votes gets a chance to say, is it viable, is it not viable? Would I use it, would I not use it? I don't know how that would work, but honestly, it needs, because it's not mandated no more. And that word was thrown out there to buku that meeting, and it's not a mandate.
Right. Well,
So,
and, you know, I invite you to, because we do need a viable advisory board. So, I mean, I hope the people step up, because, you know, I don't want more than 8, because that's what we're limited to, that we have to hurt somebody's feelings by not putting them on it. I mean, but if there is more, that's fine. But, you know, I would really like to see minimum of 4 and hopefully 8 people that are interested to step up. Because like you said, unless you get involved and get the details of it, you know, it's hard to understand it.
right.
And we need people to get involved. I will say this, the advisory board meetings are not public meetings. So if you have apprehensions of speaking in public, this is a good way to get involved.
Question, you've did some research here, obviously. Have you came across, I know you mentioned this thing that just under state statute, you can only raise 10% only every 5 years. Have you come across how the counties that assess a fee on taxes, are they regulated by that as well? For example, Spencer County, right? Yeah.
Spencer and Marion, I think.
Spencer County, how many counties are in it?
Marion County does it.
And it's done by
County, most of the
an
counties.
assessment on your taxes, right?
So that can change yearly.
Yes.
Okay, I'm totally against that. I mean, I'm against the tax thing. I don't even think tax should have been brought up.
Yeah, right, but in a little history, I remember talking to people when the solid waste district was first formed, the original people. One of them's a good friend of mine, Gail Strazel, and she's no longer with us, but she talked about it, and she was very passionate about it. And one of the reasons why putting it on a separate fee, because I asked her about this, I said, why we got this on a separate fee? You're just making everybody mad, sending them a bill every year. And honestly, I agree with her point, was that she wanted people to see, did not want it hid
Right.
in a tax bill. And I see your point, you know, and I said, but.
Yeah.
The other issue, oh, sorry, go ahead.
But at that time, I mean, and if you go back and you ask some of the others, like Dale Sprinkle was one of the originals too, and he'll say the same thing. No, we want it up front, we want it out in the open, it's this much money, it's not buried in your tax bill.
Well, no, and I don't, like I said, there's a lot of things that's happened in the county that makes me, you know, get more involved. And then when you come across something like this where $60, I mean, to some it may not be much, but like they said, it's a lot of money. You go I think it's 0.835 max a tax if they put it on our taxes. That's what it was where I seen, and that may be original, it may have changed by now.
I'm not familiar with that number.
That's
It's in the
the,
code too, though.
yes,
But
I thought it was.
And I'm gonna tell you straight out, I 100% agree that raising it 33% was not a good idea.
Oh, no.
I mean, and I didn't, and I've made that point.
I think you would have had complaints whether it was the 10% or that, but,
If you raise it 1%, you still have complaints.
right. But here's the thing, some of that money that we're paying in should be going for education on the solid waste district. Most people think it's either recycling, totally. I had no clue that our trash, or some's trash was going there. And that tonnage is more than the recycling, so there's a problem there. Is that much of the recycling people are sending in getting thrown away because of
Contamination.
contamination? Thank you.
Hey Cindy, on that, what you just made that comment on the trash, Ken, help me out with this. People's got to buy tags. That's self-efficient. The tags takes care of the trash, doesn't it?
We try
Supposed
to,
to.
yeah, we try to.
So.
We try to.
Yeah, that's the reason we raised the tags here a couple years ago, to keep it from bleeding into Perry County recycling.
Right, but it is
So-
bleeding into it.
But if we get rid of the trash part, what concerns me, where's those individuals, they can't afford a dumpster, they don't have enough trash for a dumpster, what are they gonna do with the trash if we don't have this?
And
That's
I
the
never
first-
said get rid of it. What, I never said get rid of it.
You know, if
Right.
you want more recycling.
I want it to be self-efficient, number one, with, even if it sticks at that $45. It's got to be by this time, 30 years down the road. I think more needs to be put in, because I do know that some of the people at the detention center do help. I don't know if there's a fee that they get paid or not, but I do know they help. So with that in mind, there should be more sorting. If the bulk of this is going into that trash, or into the solid waste part, not the recycling, then there needs to be, there needs to be more sorting.
And I
That's
think-
all.
And I think we could track that, too. I mean, that's.
Well, I couldn't find nothing. I
Well,
cannot
I'm
find
not saying it's
anything
tracked
on the
now.
bills.
I'm not saying it's tracked now, I'm wondering. you know,
Right, it needs, well, yeah, it is apparently.
Can
I
I
don't
make a
know.
couple comments? I
Yeah.
I know, sorry, but I just want to make sure. So a 10-year plan is kind of one of the things, that viability, 10-year plan kind of thing is what I'm hearing from you. Most things that you do have those two pieces, right? So
Right,
residents versus company, I mean, that one there, I don't think there is anything in the code that I saw that keeps us from doing that. I don't know if it's viable. I mean, I just want to throw that out there as just a comment, that I didn't see anything in the code on that. The other one was around your comment around the bond.
right.
So you were saying that if we put a bond in, we could also charge the tax? You're
You
talking-
could have charged another fee, that was
I see.
Mr. Hagedorn's comment, that last comment,
I
that you
missed
didn't
that.
even have to have permission from us.
I didn't
Oh,
hear
read that last comment he made.
I didn't receive the email, so I have no idea what you're even saying.
Okay,
I read the email, but I must have missed that.
yes, it's the last thing he
I missed
says.
that too, but anyway.
Yeah, everybody missed it but me, and for some reason, it was backdated to fit into my emails. So that's a whole nother ballgame. But anyway, something here expires in 2022, January 1st. The economic viability of those recycling operations. So that's something to look into.
Okay,
But anyway, thank you, guys.
all right, thank you. All right, any other new business, Ken?
No,
Okay, schedule the next meeting,
August 26th.
August 26th
Nobody else got it?
at 4 PM here, is that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made second. Everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
What motion next week works?
Made second, meeting adjourned. For the next council meeting.
Ralph, what's your